Hey there, friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and today I need to talk about the cancellation of the Black Panther game that was supposed to be dropped by Cliffhanger Games, and EA has shut down yet another studio. Really unfortunate stuff, and this comes on the heels of Wonder Woman, a game from Monolith Studios also getting canceled, with that studio getting shut down, and it does feel like the future of superhero games is going to be Marvel Rivals and maybe like Wolverine and Spider-Man, these kind of games, but we might not see nearly as many of them in the future as we might have hoped, and that's very disappointing as somebody who really enjoys having a variety of options for superhero games. I've played everything from Marvel's Avengers and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, Batman Arkham games. I played Marvel's Midnight Suns as well. I do play Marvel Rivals if you paid attention to the channel. And ultimately, I just want there to be more good superhero games out there, especially single player stories where they can tell an interesting tale. Now, that's something that I feel like is lost in a little bit of this. Like, obviously, first and foremost, it's a major bummer that another studio has fallen. That is something that I think the industry in general is really struggling with and doesn't look to be overcoming anytime soon. And that's just sad, because the more developers and studios we lose, the longer it will take to get good video games out the door, and the less options we'll have in the future. As far as the Black Panther game specifically, now we didn't get a ton of information about this one before it was canceled. We did see that it is going to be single player, Black Panther focused in Wakanda, and I think that sounds pretty interesting. I was already a little confused though, because we are still getting the Marvel game that teams up Captain America and Black Panther, and I don't know if fans would have really flocked to both of them necessarily, so I was always a little surprised by this choice specifically. However, a true Wakandan tale for Black Panther, I think, could be done very, very well, and I'll be very curious to see what does happen with the Rise of Hydra game, just because I feel like that one is supposed to launch in 2026 after being delayed from 2025. And if that game doesn't do well, then we're going to be really in dire straits. We supposedly still have Marvel's Wolverine coming out. We have an Iron Man game coming out at some point in the future. Rocksteady will probably go back to the Arkham franchise in some way, shape, or form. But it's just a really down time for all superhero games not named Marvel Rivals. And that, again, extremely unfortunate, because a Wonder Woman game that was involving the Nemesis system sounded awesome. I feel like that could be really well done. A Black Panther focused game in Wakanda with a very gripping story, again, could be absolutely sick, and is one that I am just sad that the EA is kind of moving away from these IP, right? They are continuing to do the story-driven Star Wars games, but have indicated there's no real interest in Star Wars Battlefront 3, even though Battlefront 2 is getting a resurgence. And these IPs are very expensive. Marvel, Star Wars, all this kind of good stuff. Same thing for DC. And I just wonder if these companies shouldn't build out their own studios to keep everything in-house and design the types of games that they want to tell, whether they are integrated stories based upon whatever universe, the MCU, the DCU, whatever the case may be, whether they want to do completely separate standalone stories, a variety of different kinds of games. We're getting later this year Marvel Cosmic Invasion, which is kind of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. And that's a game that, again, if it does well, will maybe provide some additional options for those retro arcade type of games for superhero titles. I think that could be interesting. I don't know if DC is going to learn the lesson. They tried to have some different games come out over the course of time, but they might try to copy Marvel Rivals and do a similar thing, and I just don't know if it works. Hopefully we get another Injustice. I feel like that would be a very fun option for DC instead of trying to copycat what Rivals is doing. It's been a long time since we got the last Injustice game, so having something similar I think could be good. But in general, the state of superhero video games right now is very tenuous. It doesn't feel very good based upon what we know about which games are still definitely coming out, definitely going to be good. It's been 4 years since we've seen anything on Marvel's Wolverine. Yes, Insomniac had that studio leak and it put them back quite a ways, and a lot of the game did make its way onto the internet because of that, so that's a big reason for the delay and some changes and all that kind of good stuff. But in general, it just feels like there's just consistently more bad news, whether it's games being canceled, studios being shut down, whether it's games with interesting ideas. I played a ton of Marvel Avengers. That's what you're seeing in the background gameplay. That got shut down before we got to see the end of the story. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That one got shut down, and the end was not very satisfying because it wasn't cutscenes or anything like that. It was basically a stop motion comic book kind of ending as far as how they told the tale, which was very much a bummer. And there's just so many problems, I think, that are out there right now for superhero games. Will we see a resurgence in the future? That is the big question. Because, again, Marvel Rivals is crushing it right now. So they are showing that there is room if the game is fun and done in a way that fans will flock to. Spider-Man games have done very well. And I think there is room out there for a X-Men game to come out and be very good if they treat it correctly. I look at some of the old games that we got. Ultimate Alliance, if we get more of those across all consoles and PC, could be absolutely sick. And it's just, again, just such a bummer that this game was canceled because I was looking forward to more stories in the superhero universes and probably leading into eventual full franchises, and I think they could also do it in a way that would be very exciting. But it kind of started with the fall of the Avengers and then the drop and decline of the Guardians of the Galaxy game, even though that one was pretty good. Gotham Knights came out, didn't get received very well. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. There's just been a lot of misses, and when you're paying for these massive IPs, they need to be a hit, and the risk is so high that I think a lot of these studios don't want to take that on any longer. And yeah, it has me pretty bummed overall. I hope that in the future we see more of these, whether they are in-house studios, whether they decide to do things a little differently by having studios that might not necessarily have the biggest budgets and allow them to cook up something unique that maybe isn't just a traditional action game. I feel like that could be very interesting, but we'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you like the video? Comment, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. My name is Jopa. Have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.